Now, you heard it time and time again. Eat whole grains, fruits, and veggies. We've been told for years that more plants equal better health. But what if, for a short time, cutting out plants could actually heal your gut, and in turn, your brain and your emotional health? Now, I know it sounds radical, but this is exactly the kind of protocol I designed for patients who've tried everything. Anti-inflammatory diets, multiple doctor visits, prescription drugs, and still feel bloated, foggy, anxious, or inflamed. Today, I'm walking you through my short-term gut reset called the Chicken and the Sea program. I introduced it in my book, The Gut-Brain Paradox, and it's really simple. It's powerful, and if your gut's out of balance, it may just change your life. Okay, so what is the Chicken and the Sea program? Now, this is a 6 to 8 week reset protocol, which I introduced in my latest book, The Gut-Brain Paradox. It temporarily removes all plants, yes, all, and focuses instead on clean, non-inflammatory, animal-based foods. Why? Because if your gut's inflamed, I can guarantee you your brain is inflamed. So this reset is designed to, number one, starve harmful gut bacteria. Number two, reduce neuroinflammation. Number three, reset the immune system. Number four, give the gut lining time to heal. The purpose? Well, to improve your mood, your focus, your energy, and digestion. Okay, so what foods can you eat? Well, poultry, any kind of pasture-raised poultry. Think chicken, turkey, duck. Now, no eggs, because many of my patients are sensitive to eggs. Now, the good news about poultry is that we're beginning to see pastured chicken more and more available. It's even in Trader Joe's. Now, word to the wise, organic does not mean pastured. Most organic chickens are fed corn and soybean that just happens to be organic. You're much better off looking for the word pastured, where the chickens or the ducks or whatever have the chance to go out in fields and eat what they were designed to eat, which is bugs and grass. The second part of this is seafood. Wild-caught fish and shellfish. Now, these are rich in omega-3 fats, they're easy to digest, and they're free of plant lectins. The most important part of these two foods that bears repeating over and over again is that poultry and fish have a sugar molecule that is identical to the sugar molecule in us that lines our gut, lines our blood vessels, lines our blood-brain barrier, and lines our joints. And that sugar molecule is called Nu5, capital A, little c. Why is that such a big deal? Sadly, beef, lamb, pork, and dairy products have a different sugar molecule called Nu5, capital GC. These molecules are virtually identical, yet Nu5GC promotes a very vigorous immune response in us when we eat it. Sadly, because these two molecules are virtually identical, Nu5GC can be substituted for Nu5AC in the lining of our gut, our blood vessels, our blood-brain barrier, and our joints. And because we make antibodies to it, we attack the lining of our gut, our joints, our blood-brain barrier, and our blood vessel barrier. So getting rid of these other carnivore options is one of the really fundamental principles of this program. Now, here's the good news. Even though dairy contains Nu5GC, if you ferment dairy, if you ferment goat or sheep milk, kefirs, yogurts, aged hard cheeses like Pecorino Romano, Parmesan, Gruyere, Nu5GC is eaten by the bacteria. So there isn't any Nu5GC in these foods, and they're part of the program. Now, here's something that's really going to surprise you. On this program, you're going to only use perilla oil, Perilla. Perilla oil is the #1 oil of Korea and most of China. It's made from the perilla plant, which you know as a coleus plant. And if you don't know what a coleus plant is, Google it and it'll be instantly recognizable. It's a very multicolored leaf plant that many of us grow in our gardens or even as a house plant. Perilla oil blocks LPSs, little pieces of you-know-what, from getting through the wall of our gut. Now here's what'll shock you. During this time, you're not going to use any olive oil, no avocado oil, no coconut, and absolutely no other seed oils. You're not going to use ghee. You're only going to use perilla. That's why you're going to use it. Here's the bad news with these other oils, even my favorite olive oil. LPSs can travel on fats through the wall of our gut. The great news is perilla oil blocks them from traveling through the wall of our gut. This has been shown in experimental animals, and it's been shown in my patient population. It's truly remarkable. What about seasonings on this program? Well, get yourself high-quality iodized sea salt, or there's even now iodized Himalayan salt. And please enjoy as much as you want of dried herbs like rosemary, thyme, and oregano. All of the seaweeds are absolutely allowed and incredibly good for you. You can use citrus zest from lime or orange, but don't use lemon. Lemon juice is out. Any of the other juices is out, but the zest adds brightness without lectin compounds. Also, the zest contains some really cool compounds like D-limonene that really helps your liver repair itself and handle toxins. So why no plants at all? Well, as you know, plants contain lectins, oxalates, and many other plant defense compounds that can irritate an already damaged gut lining. And sadly, when I see people with leaky gut, autoimmunity, or brain fog, removing these compounds temporarily allows the gut to rest and repair. Now, this isn't forever. It's a strategic elimination to give the microbiome a clean slate. One of the things that has impressed me through the years, as some of my patients have tried the carnivore diet, where they eat mostly beef, is they definitely feel better, and their gut definitely feels better. But every one of them has increasing amounts of detectable inflammatory markers. And when I switched them from a traditional carnivore diet to a chicken and the sea program, they still felt great, but all those markers of inflammation resolved. And that's why I know it works in my patient population. Well, how about water? Water is fine. Please try to get reverse osmosis filtered water or mineral-rich sparkling water. Now, hydration is crucial, especially without fiber. What about coffee? Drink your coffee black. No sweeteners, no cream. Now, I like people to add allulose. Yes, it will taste sweet. But allulose has been shown to actually reduce blood sugar, and it probably improves gut diversity. Green tea, black pu'er tea are polyphenol rich, and they're usually gentle on the gut. Now, herbal teas are fine. Please stick to the clean labels. Peppermint tea in moderation and licorice tea in moderation can really help. But here's something that shows up all the time in my gut sensitivity tests. A good third to a half of my patients react to ginger. So even though ginger tea is touted as stomach soothing, gut healing, that's the exact opposite of what I see in my patients. Now, how about kefir and yogurt drinks? Please use the ones only from goat or sheep milk. How about low sugar kombucha? It's available out there, but you got to look for the raw ones, the plain ones, and free of flavorings. And also, please read the amount of residual sugars or added sugars, because so many of the commercial kombuchas are just sugar bombs. Okay, so how do you eat on this program? Well, the good news is there's absolutely no calorie counting. There's no weighing portions. You just eat until you're full, not stuff. The second part of this program is we're going to try for a 16 to 18 hour of not eating to allow your gut time to reset. So for instance, if you start eating at 10 a.m., then you stop eating at 6 p.m. That'll give you an 8-hour eating window. Why do we do this? Well, look at it this way. We know how important sleep is for your brain, and anyone who's tried to go without sleep for a long time pays the price. Why is sleep so important? Because your brain has to go through a period of rest and repair. Your brain has to go through a period of cleaning, and that's what sleep does. We also now know that the same thing has to happen in your gut. Digestion and absorbing food is incredibly hard work and is incredibly damaging to the wall of your gut. So if you keep pouring in food to digest and absorb throughout the day, there's absolutely no downtime for the gut to undergo that repair cycle like your brain does. So the more we can compress that eating window within reason, the longer the time you have to repair the wall of your gut. And after all, we're doing this because your gut wall is a disaster area and we need time to do the repairs. Also, prioritize sugar-free electrolytes to support hydration without plant foods. Well, as I mentioned, you might be asking, why not just do a carnivore diet? And again, the reason is these foods, beef, lamb, and pork, are loaded with the wrong sugar molecule, nu-5GC. So this is not a carnivore diet. It's a chicken and the sea diet. So what do you expect? This is not a long-term project. It's targeted. It's temporary. Now, what most people notice almost right away is reduced bloating, fewer cravings, and clearer thinking, and usually a lot more energy within 2 to 3 weeks. There are a number of patient stories, and there's even a woman who recently I interviewed. I was on her podcast, and she was shocked. She had tried the carnivore diet, and although she lost some weight and really thought it was improving her, she really felt off, particularly the way her brain still worked. And she had heard about this. She had read my book. And she said, what the heck? I'm going to interview Dr. Gundry coming up. I'm going to change over to this. And same thing happened to her. Within 2 to 3 weeks, she noticed that brain fog all of a sudden started clicking on all 8 cylinders. And this was a woman who was using the carnivore diet. And just getting rid of that nu-5GC in the carnivore diet and replacing it with nu-5AC, which is our sugar molecule, made all the difference for the world. Who needs this? Well, I personally feel it's ideal for anyone with brain fog, with autoimmune flares, with IBS or chronic bloating, mood swings, even if you think you're eating healthy. If you have long-haul fatigue post-COVID, this is one of the best ways to fix it. In fact, in my patient population, every one of my long COVID patients have leaky gut. And we should realize that viruses are incredibly good at causing leaky gut. And COVID in particular, a third of people who caught COVID, their symptoms were actually GI, whether it was nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea. And this is what we see in our long COVID patients. And once we fix their leaky gut, it's amazing what happens to this chronic fatigue and chronic brain fog. So it's one of the fastest ways to quiet down this reactive gut-brain axis. All right, so what happens after 6 to 8 weeks? Well, now what we do is slowly reintroduce one food at a time. Now, what I really recommend is you start with really well-cooked vegetables from the yes list and literally cook them to within an inch of their lives. Cook them so much that the best way to eat them is to blend them as a soup. Please do not introduce raw kale salads right away. You'll regret it. Keep a journal. So track how you feel 24 to 72 hours later after you introduce a food group. Are you getting bloating? What's your energy like? What's your skin doing? How's your mood? So this is where the real insight happens. You'll actually learn which foods truly love you and love you back. Now, if you tried everything and still don't feel right, maybe it's time to take a step back. Strip it down. Let your gut heal. Let your brain reset. The Chicken and the Sea program isn't flashy, but it really works. And sometimes the simplest changes lead to the biggest breakthroughs.